Once, there was an old woman who told stories in a village by the shining sea. Every week, the villagers would come to her, excited to hear her tales, which were full of lessons and wise words. Her stories were so interesting that people felt like they were real adventures, each one teaching something important for their lives. As the sun went down and made the village glow with gold, the old woman would begin her tale saying, "Let me tell you the story of Amani, the beautiful mermaid who faced the anger of a proud king." The old woman went on, "In a big kingdom by the sea, there was a king named Juma. He was famous for his great wealth and strong presence, but his heart was full of pride. King Juma thought he ruled everything, even the wide ocean beyond his castle. He often bragged about his power and made sure everyone obeyed him without question. But he didn't know that his pride would soon bring him face to face with a magical being who would change his life forever. One day, King Juma decided to visit the royal jail, curious about the prisoners held in its dark stone walls. He wanted to see the people who had disobeyed him, thinking it would remind them of his power. As he walked through the narrow hallways, he looked at the prisoners' faces. Some looked sad, while others looked stubborn. Among them was a beautiful old mermaid named Ammani, who caught the king's eye right away. Little did he know, her wisdom and magic would soon make him question everything he believed about power and control. Long ago, in the depths of the vast ocean, there lived a mermaid named Ammani. She was no ordinary creature of the sea. Ammani was as wise as she was beautiful, a guardian of the ocean's mysteries and protector of its creatures. Her scales sparkled like sunlit waves, and her voice could soothe even the wildest storms. For centuries, Ammani had kept the sea in harmony, watching over its currents, its creatures, and its secrets. But one day, her path crossed with that of a proud king, and her life and the kingdom would never be the same again. Ammani wasn't just a guardian of the ocean. She was part of a long lineage of mermaids who had cared for the waters for generations. Her family was woven into the very fabric of the sea, each of them bound by duty to protect its beauty and power. Ammani's days were spent singing to the waves, her voice carrying across the waters, keeping peace and balance. She shared her knowledge with her younger sisters, teaching them the ancient songs and secrets of the ocean. Together, they lived in harmony, far from the world of humans, until the day her fate became tangled with that of a proud and powerful king. One evening, while Ammani was singing a sacred song to honor her family's legacy, she was spotted by a royal guard. Fascinated by her beauty and enchanted by her voice, the guard hurried to tell King Juma about the magical mermaid he had seen. The king's curiosity grew into obsession. He believed that capturing Ammani would bring him untold fortune, as he imagined her powers could calm storms and make the sea yield treasures. The old woman paused, watching the villagers' faces filled with wonder. Driven by greed, the king ordered his men to find Ammani and bring her to him, thinking her power was his for the taking. He was certain that even the sea's magic could be bent to his will. But Ammani, though wise and gentle, would soon reveal the depths of her strength. King Juma's men searched the shores until they found Ammani near the rocks, singing to the waves as the sun set. They called out to her, but she did not turn. So they threw heavy nets around her, pulling her from the water and dragging her to the palace. Ammani, caught and helpless, could only look back at the sea she loved. The villagers gasped as the old woman went on. When she was brought before the king, he looked at her with greedy eyes. "You will use your magic for me," he commanded, "to make my ships safe, to calm the storms, and to fill my kingdom with riches from the sea." But Ammani, though tired and bound, lifted her head and spoke calmly. "The sea's magic is not for any one person, and it cannot be owned." The king grew angry at her words, not understanding that Amani's power was tied to her freedom and her family's duty to the ocean. In his pride, he believed he could make her obey, not knowing that capturing a mermaid would come at a great cost. The king did not like Amani's answer. He grew angry and ordered that she be locked away in the darkest cell of his royal jail. "You will stay there until you choose to obey me," he declared, certain she would soon change her mind. In the jail, Ammani felt sadness and worry. She missed her family and the open sea, where she was free to sing and swim. Days passed, and the dark cell felt smaller and colder with each night. But even in that place, Ammani did not lose hope. She thought of her family and the waves that still waited for her. Meanwhile, strange things began to happen in the kingdom. The waves rose higher, and storms came more often. The fishermen could no longer catch fish, and the people grew afraid. They whispered, "The sea is angry. The king has done something wrong." The villagers watched in awe as the old woman shared the tale, knowing that soon the king would have to face the true power of the sea and its guardians. The king could not understand why his kingdom was suffering. He did not know that the sea and its creatures were all connected to Ammani. With her trapped and unhappy, the sea itself was restless. Day after day, the waves grew bigger, crashing against the shores. Fishermen could not go out to sea, and the people had less and less food. Finally, the villagers came to the palace and begged the king, "Please, set Ammani free. The sea is angry because you have taken its guardian." But King Juma was stubborn and proud. He believed he could keep Ammani in his jail and still control the sea. But Ammani, sitting in her dark cell, began to sing softly, calling out to her family and the sea. Her voice was gentle but strong, and it reached the waters far beyond the palace. The sea heard her song and sent waves to the shore as if to say, "We are waiting." The king began to feel worried. The storms grew worse, and he knew he had to make a choice. Would he keep the mermaid locked away, or let her return to the sea? King Juma finally began to understand. He knew he could not force the sea to be calm or make Ammani obey him. One evening, he walked to the jail and stood before her cell. Ammani looked up at him, her eyes filled with both sadness and strength. With a heavy heart, the king spoke, "Ammani, I have seen the power of the sea and the harm I have caused. I was wrong to take you from your home. If I set you free, will the sea forgive my kingdom?" Ammani nodded gently. "The sea only asks for respect. Let me return, and the storms will calm. Your people will find peace once again." Realizing his mistake, King Juma ordered his guards to open the cell and set Ammani free. The moment she was out, she walked to the shore, where the waves welcomed her with open arms. She turned to look at the king one last time and said, "Remember, true strength comes not from control, but from harmony." With that, Ammani dove back into the ocean, her song filling the air as she disappeared beneath the waves. The old woman finished the tale, her voice soft and full of wonder. As Ammani returned to the sea, the waves grew calm and the storms faded away. The fish returned and the fishermen went back to their work. The kingdom felt peace once more as the sea forgave the king's mistake. From that day on, King Juma became a kinder ruler. He understood that power was not in controlling others, but in respecting the world around him. He told his people to care for the ocean and never to harm its creatures. As for Ammani, the villagers say that on quiet nights, her song can still be heard over the waves, a gentle reminder of the mermaid who taught a proud king the true meaning of wisdom and peace. And so, the kingdom and the sea lived in harmony, forever bound by the story of Ammani, the mermaid who brought balance back to the world.